Okay, good idea.
They just go with the flow. It's the Hershey and Keegs Show.
Welcome to Hershey and the Keegs Show, starring pitcher Mark Hirschman and his personal catcher, Mike Keegan. Every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. live from the Governor's Comedy Club radio studio. Thanks so much for listening.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is Tuesday night, 9 p.m. You know what that means, right?
What is
that?
That
means it's the Hershey and the Keegs Show. Mm-hmm. It is. This is what we do. We are here. We're here to have a great time. We got a great show tonight. We have a guest. The vibe is already in the air. We're already having
something. Fun. It's gas. It's something in the air. I don't know what it is. We are super excited to have everyone's favorite. He is, as I put on the Facebook post, producer, director, content coordinator, beautiful eyes on his beautiful coiffed, bearded face.
Great kisser.
Slow kisser, soft lips. Welcome to the show, our very dear friend, Mr. Don Sill.
Yes,
Don
thank you guys. I'm psyched to
Don
be here.
Sill, everybody. Don Sill.
Love you guys.
We're going to take a deep dive into Don Sill. Before we do that, as we always do. Yeah.
It's not the first time.
I didn't tell you that was the plan for tonight. Sorry, I forgot to do that in the pre-production meeting. We are going to start with our first set of Hershey and the Keegs sponsors, and we will start with Demolition Specialists, 1-855-RIP-OUTS, the number you call for demolition, dumpsters, and fence rental. Family owned and operated for over 30 years, they are a fully licensed demolition contractor. We have Angela's Bra Boutique at 223 Main Street in Farmingdale, 516-249-6509. Personalized bra fittings providing a wide selection of brands, sizes, and styles, and mention Hershey and the Keegs Show, and you will get 10% off your purchase. Then we have Triple M Professional Painting and Construction, 516-395-6390. Family owned and operated for over 35 years. Call for your free estimate today and ask for James. And then we have, of course, Eric Half's own Sunray Services. Now is the best time to convert to hybrid heating and cooling. Call them today at 631-231-5533 or visit them online at www.sunrayservices.com. But right now,
Have you converted to a hybrid?
I converted to Episcopalian.
Okay,
actually,
because now's the best time.
It is the best time, but now is the best time for something that's been well overdue. He's in the studio. He does the Green Room show with Tony. He does Donversations, his own show. He does a lot of different things, but for some reason, the first time that we're having him in studio is today, 3 years into the show. Welcome to our friend, Mr. Don Sill. How are you, sir?
Thank you, sir.
I'm psyched to be here.
It took so long. I've been begging Mark for like 3 years. He's like, nah, I don't know. But finally,
Mike is a
I
big
got my way.
beggar, go-getter, asking me what's happening in the show. He always has a good clue and a pulse as to what's happening. I said... talent coordinator. I said content coordinator, producer, director. How many other hats do you wear that you want us to know about, Mr. Don Sill?
I would add to that writer and also video editor.
Editor.
That's my main bread and butter.
So I was going to say, we don't talk about day jobs a lot here. Mike and I obviously retired from this because of this podcast.
Exactly.
But
one day job for me.
What is your gig, your regular gig that you do travel with and so forth?
Yeah, so I basically, like I said, I'm a video editor and marketing. I come from the sports background, and now I work for a company that does light shows and stuff. So if you've seen nowadays, it's been a big thing. Every team, when they have their opening video, it's accompanied by everybody holding up their phones and the light from the phone.
Sure.
So our company is called Q, and it's audio Q system. So I basically do all the marketing for that, and I go to, and we do other products as well. But I go to all the stadiums that. We have like almost every NFL team. We have.
Wow.
We're just breaking into the MLB now. I'm going to Seattle in a couple of weeks for when baseball kicks off for Seattle because the Marlins.
You have so much more money than either one of us.
Mariners.
It's true.
Yeah.
He also taught Serena Williams how to do that dance dance at the halftime show.
Oh, yeah,
was
the
like-
Crip
He
walk.
taught her the Crip walk.
Well, that's because she was actually a Crip, though, wasn't she?
Exactly.
That was the one time I was actually very attracted to her for some reason.
I really was. I didn't know it was her at first. Like, I don't know
Yeah.
these people when I see them. I'm like, oh, that's a hot black chick.
I was like, damn.
And I'm like, yeah, because she was beautiful.
You know what? I happen to think that she's an attractive woman, and I'll tell you why you were. I'm guessing. I don't want to talk out of school here, but the reason why you probably had a crush on her, like all of us, is that when she was playing tennis all those years, running around with those big mammaries, just flopping around like big.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like those, you could try to rein those things in, but
yeah,
you couldn't.
You can't.
You couldn't rein those things
You could
in.
try to contain them.
Yeah,
There's nothing wrong with some big floppies.
Those
Exactly.
were really just big women's breasts,
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's hard to be an athlete when you have big.
Oh,
big,
tell us
tell
about
me
it.
about it. I know.
played football.
That's why I didn't play in college.
Yeah, she's lovely, and you're lovely. And I asked your permission. This is one of my favorite stories, and I'm basically going to ask Don to tell the story, and it's the reason why the text thread that me, Tony, and Don have together is called Rise Up, and I will let you take the floor. It's one of my favorite stories.
It was called Rise Up.
Why it got changed?
Oh no, that's another thread.
Oh, that's a different
the
thread?
Sill
Wait
of
a
the
second.
Night.
Oh, you took
The Sill of the Night.
You know what's funny?
Oh, that's our text.
Oh, that's
our
the four
thread,
of us?
yeah.
That's
Oh,
what the
okay.
four of us are on. Rise Up is some weird thing that you guys all.
Yeah.
I don't know what's rising up when you guys are talking.
Absolutely. You were doing that when you were 7 with your friends on the couch. So, no. And thank you for acknowledging that, Tony, by the way, that we started a new text thread with me, Mikey, Tony, and Don this week. And I thought that it would be cute as a little play on words in the Still of the Night, which is a beautiful classic old tune, that I would call it In the Sill of the Night. And none of you really seem to bite on that at all.
I was singing it.
Yeah.
I liked it.
we have another thread. It's just the three of us. Like, what the fuck is Mark talking
Right.
about? That's the name of that thread.
Do you know the song In the Still? In the
I
Still
do.
of the
In the
Night?
Still of the Night.
In the Sill.
Well, that's the hair metal.
Yeah,
ones.
yeah.
No. Can you do background if I do a little bit? In the Sill.
In the still.
No. I'm singing. No. I'm
I'm
doing
going
it.
to turn
what am I
mics off,
doing?
man. That's awful.
You're just doing background harmony.
Okay, I thought I was doing like.
In the sill of the night, Donnie is here now. Mikey is queer now. In the sill of the night. Yeah, that's it. What do you think, Tony?
That was very good.
Tony, why you covered your face in horror?
Like I said, I'm going to turn mics off in a minute. Awful. You guys are so white.
Yes. Thank you very much. Well, so In the Still of the Night is the four of us, but Rise Up is a story that Donnie had told. I think I popped in one
Sorry, the hair
Friday.
metal version, is that Queensryche?
No, it's
White Snake. All right.
In the Still of the Night.
Yeah.
Rise Up was a story that I must have popped in here one day when Tony and Don were doing a Knock 'em Dead show. I think it was. Was that right, on a Friday?
That's correct.
And I guess the story came up that essentially Don had met Jimmy Carter, President Jimmy Carter, and I was fascinated by this story. And then eventually that day he sent me the video. So take the floor, Donnie, and tell us about the Jimmy Carter story, Rise Up.
Well, Jimmy Carter, rest in peace. I love Jimmy Carter. He wasn't the best president, but he was the best post-president we've ever had. I just want to always say that to everybody, that he was the greatest post-president we've ever had in history.
For 40-something years post-presidency.
The longest post-presidency
Yeah.
and the
44
best.
years.
He
I don't
accomplished-
disagree with that.
Yeah, the most accomplishments.
Yeah.
He made up for his horrible presidency.
Yeah, fair enough.
And he was a great human being.
Yep.
And
Humanitarian,
humanitarian,
yep.
all that stuff.
He
American.
built houses for little black midgets or something, right?
Yeah, he
Is that
made
what
those
did?
little houses.
Yeah, that's a Keebler elf. But
I
that's
actually,
different.
living in Atlanta, we went and built some of those. As part of our thing, we had to go,
wow.
and build a couple of you just sit there for like a day, just hammer a couple of things, and
Yeah.
you're done. But anyway, so I was working for the Atlanta Falcons, and you're in Atlanta. That's where Jimmy Carter's from. He was the peanut farmer from Atlanta. Still lived in Atlanta. He was always a Georgia guy his whole life.
Yep.
I'm Jimmy Carter. The whole thing.
Yep.
And we had military night, so I asked my boss. I was like, "Hey, man, if we have military night, could we get Jimmy Carter to come down? It'd be freaking awesome to have him here." And he's like, "Yeah, good luck if you can get him." I said, "I'm going to get him." So I made all these phone calls. I started with the presidential library. He's got his own Jimmy Carter library, and then from there you start networking, and then finally I got to his main assistant, and I gave the whole pitch, and they said, sure, Jimmy would come down, just make sure you do cue cards and all this stuff and have a setup. We want a suite, and they want certain things. So I went back, hey, we got it. All right, holy shit. All right, good. This is great. So we're on game day. This is still with the Georgia Dome. It's the last year of the Georgia Dome.
I don't want to interrupt. What year was that, though?
This was like 2015, 2016.
That's not that long ago.
16.
It's 8 years ago.
Yeah,
8, 9 years ago.
Yeah, 2016, the last year of the Georgia Dome. And so all of a sudden I'm down there. I know he's coming. I'm wearing my suit and everything. And I got my cameraman. And I told the kid, who's like, the camera guy, I said, leave the fucking thing rolling. Because I want to make sure, because I don't know if we're going to have time to take pictures.
Just leave it rolling the whole time. Don't stop the tape.
So he's like, okay. So his name's Nick. Shout out to Nick if he's ever
Hey, Nick.
So
Big Nick.
So Jimmy Carter comes down. I'm actually very nervous.
Oh, you're shitting your pants.
Yeah.
Just like him.
So he comes down. He's got a Secret Service guy with him. He's got a whole little entourage of people, his assistant. Everybody's there. And they all come walking down, and I'm like, make sure my hands aren't palmy.
Right.
So I'm like, hey, how are you, Mr. President? How are you? So we do the whole. I keep touching his shoulder.
Yeah, like patting him a little bit.
Yeah, like I'm like,
hey buddy.
And then finally, at one point, I see the Secret Service guy just look at me and goes, "Don't do that." Like, like, stop touching him. Stop fucking touching him.
Oh my god!
Don't touch Mr. Peanut.
He had little shoulders, like his. I just remember his. He's a little old guy. Like he's a former president. He's a great human being, but he's still an old, frail man.
He's built like a little peanut. He's like a dainty little peanut.
And he's looking at. He's super friendly.
Yeah.
So then I pitch to him what we're gonna do, and then I hold up the cue card, and he reads it. And it's a military thing. How's it Jimmy Carter? Want to think I'm military? Blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, all right, thank you, sir. And the next card was which is the catchphrase, the rise up.
Yeah.
The catchphrase for the Atlanta Falcons, and this is going to go in front of 80,000 people in the stadium.
Yeah, and it did, and it always got a huge pop from the audience.
Yeah.
So in Atlanta, if you see two people, like if you're in the mall and you see somebody wearing a Atlanta Falcons hat, you go, rise up. They got rise up. Like it's a thing. It's how they say hello over there.
God, I want to live there so bad.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I loved Atlanta.
Jet fans do that. They're just like, don't look at me.
Yeah.
Don't look at me.
Jet fans like, what are you looking at, motherfucker?
Suck my dick.
You're staring at you, son of a bitch.
Eat my dick.
Yeah. You got a fucking problem, motherfucker?
Lick my balls, douchebag.
We say, hey, rise up. Fuck you.
Fuck your mom.
Oh boy.
So I think I get this weird feeling that Jimmy Carter wants to get out of there. Like he's not, he wants to get done. So I'm like, all right, thank you, sir. So then all of a sudden his assistant comes over and he looks really confused, which is normal for elderly men.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden his assistant comes over and she goes, he wants to rise up. And I'm like, what? She goes, Jimmy Carter wants to rise up. I said, oh shit, yeah. So I switched the card. Thank God I had the other card.
You had the rise
so
up
she
card,
saw I was prepared. So she was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
So then Jimmy Carter's like, how should I say it? Do you want me to really go for it? I go, yeah, just go for it. He's like, okay.
Yeah.
And then he's like, rise up.
And we're going to go right to the videotape, Mr. Tony Walker. What do you got
it, huh?
Here we go. You'll see the moment itself.
It's only about a minute and a half.
Jimmy Carter, everybody. Hello. You want to come to here? Let's go here. Hello, Mr. Carter. How are you, sir? Nice to meet you, sir. So basically, we're going to have you hold the microphone and say on this cue card, if you, hello, Falcon fans. I'm President Jimmy Carter. Thank you to all the men and women who serve our great country. And then the next one just says, God, thank you and God bless America.
Then on the course, turn left or right to the west. Take the ramp down to the first meeting and exit. Elevators or escalators will not be in.
How close you want me to have it? How close you want me to have it?
Yeah, you can talk right to it.
All right, fine.
For the safety of all, these
Hello, Falcon fans. I'm Jimmy Carter, and I want to thank all the men and women who serve our country overseas and do so much for our nation. Thank you very much. Thank you, and God bless America.
Thank you, sir. Can you also do, we have...
Rise up too?
Yes, the rise up thing. I got that one right here.
How much you want me to put into it?
Oh, you can go as crazy, like, rise up, you know.
Hello, Falcon fans. I'm President Jimmy Carter. I want you to rise up.
Yeah, fucking yeah, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love this so much.
Yes, the great Jimmy Carter.
It gives me so much joy. So, so now we can fast
About
forward.
2 months ago, there was a nurse in Georgia that said, "Mr. Carter, can you rise up, please?"
Well, so the bizarre thing about this is that this conversation between me, Tony, and Don happened on a Friday, and I was obsessed with the whole thing, and I started calling the group text that day, Rise Up, and Don was sending me the videos, and all we did was just send pictures and all this stuff of Jimmy Carter, and then the next day is Saturday, and I get a text message from someone that Jimmy Carter died.
That was so crazy.
And I was like, we fucking killed.
You
We
killed
fucking
Jimmy
killed
Carter.
Jimmy Carter.
man.
You
That was
killed
crazy.
Jimmy Carter.
But the fact that is that the only U.S. president you've ever met during your
The only other one I met, it's funny you talked about the Serena sisters, because I was a security guard in 2004 at the U.S. Open, and my job was to escort everybody to their cars. So,
Yeah.
so I'm escorting the Williams, what's the Naratilova?
Yeah,
The-
Navratilova, Martina
Navratilova.
Navratilova. Yep.
That guy, I love that guy.
So he's a good dude.
Yeah.
So one day I'm holding up, I see Trump coming. This is before he was president. 2004, they had the Republican convention was in Manhattan.
Yep.
And all these politicians were there. I think W was there. All these were all at the U.S. Open.
Okay.
So I'm on one door. My whole job that day is just this one fucking door.
One door.
It's a very boring day, but it's a day. But a lot of the elites are coming.
A lot
through
of the
this-
pundits are coming
Yeah.
through. Yeah.
And I see Trump, and he's fresh off The Apprentice. You know, I didn't know his before he ever thought about it, or at least that I.
There
thought
was
of
no
him.
talk of politics at that point.
Right, he was
None.
just The Apprentice guy.
He was. You're fired. You're fired,
You're
Don. You're
fired.
fired. Yeah.
And so I held the door open for him, and he's coming out with a bunch of people. And then I said, "Have a good night, Mr. Trump." And he actually stopped and looked at me, and I thought I was in trouble. Am
Right,
I
yeah.
not allowed to talk to this guy?
You're fired, Don Sill.
Yeah, and he just
Yeah.
looked at me, and then he just went like that, and then he left. And that's my story with
Oh,
him.
yeah,
Wow.
that's
I
amazing.
tell you, he was bigger than I thought.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a big boy.
Yeah,
he's a big
His-
guy.
He's about if I'm standing up, his shoulders are here.
Wow.
My shoulders.
Yeah.
He's like that much bigger. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not a little man.
Yeah.
Yes, he must be about 6'2", I'd
He's a
say.
big guy. Yeah.
Easily,
Yeah.
easily.
And I couldn't believe how big big in stature too.
His son Baron that was created in the lab is like 7'3".
Baron.
Yes.
Baron's crazy.
He's created in the same lab as,
That
as
kid-
Ivan Drago.
Dude, that kid's the future for real.
I know,
like,
right?
Like when Baron's like 50, like 50 years old, like he's gonna be something, man.
Yeah.
11 foot tall
He's gonna be this big
He's never
giant.
gonna stop
fucking-
with a gigantic hammer. There's no question about it.
he was blessed all the way around.
Rise up, Donnie.
He's got he's rich and has a giant
That's
hammer.
right,
Yeah.
exactly.
I love the Rise Up story.
That's great. Yeah, that's an awesome
thank
story.
you.
It's an
Yeah.
awesome video.
Thank you for sharing that. And
And thanks to
all
Nick
right.
for filming it, keeping the camera
Yeah,
rolling.
Nick, yeah.
Really just been a story.
Exactly.
Well-
It never happened if you don't have pictures.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, thanks for
Thank-
coming on this week, Don.
But I also have the rings.
Okay, so
What a box
oh wow.
that is. Holy.
So in your
That's
your
like the-
trials
that's
and
like the case
tribulations,
from,
I don't know if
in your
from Pulp
trials and
Fiction.
tribulations, you have become somewhat of a quasi team member for the Carolina tell us the names of
The Carolina Hurricanes, the Atlanta United, which is MLS team that they
Soccer
won
team?
the championship,
Okay.
and then the NFL. When I was there for the greatest comeback in history, with thanks to Tom Brady, but I was on the other side. So this is the participation trophy. This is the NFC championship ring.
Wow.
And
Jesus.
and these are believe it or not a size smaller than what the players get. These are the B. The staff gets the B size, but you can even see the NFL versus NHL. Like,
Wow. Yeah, exactly.
this
yeah.
isn't even the championship.
That's not even the cha- exactly.
This is a
So-
Stanley Cup ring.
when you're saying the size, but
So
it's
you guys
still
want-
That's the
it's
Carolina
still-
Hurricanes?
Yeah, that's the Hurricanes in 06 when we won it, and that's the NFC,
That's
and then this is the soccer. And you can tell the difference in the leagues too. Like,
Yeah.
this is a championship ring for MLS, but it's not
awesome.
worth.
Yeah.
The value isn't the same.
No, I would think it's about $45.
His name is on him.
Huh? Oh
His
wow.
name is on the rings.
That is
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, and you get presented those at a
cool
big
is that?
Wow.
fancy dinner and all that.
John Sill. That's amazing.
That's an NFC championship ring here, Marco.
Holy jeez
Yeah.
Louise.
Yeah, and then that's the soccer one.
That's cool.
They were all super cool
I mean,
to be a part of.
The Falcons one, the amount of diamonds on here, this is a multiple $1,000 ring, I'm presuming.
I'll just, cause I don't want to get robbed on the way out. But I'll say that the
shit, I didn't even think of that.
No, that's all right. The
These are all replicas.
this fake piece of shit.
What does Timu mean?
The Atlanta United one is the least value, and that's about like 15.
Dollars, yes.
Yes.
I'm glad we're shooting at the brokerage today. We're here at the brokerage. Can you edit this out, please?
No, it's all right. I can handle myself.
Yeah, I can.
We have Jimmy Carter's security outside.
What's up, Jimmy? I love that.
Yeah, so I never get to really show those rings. I never even. This is the first time I've seen these rings in years. I keep them.
That's incredible.
You keep them. Yeah, it's not something that you'd ever feel comfortable going out and wearing.
I was telling Tony earlier. I was like, I used to cover the drafts a lot, the NHL draft.
That's wild.
And one day I'm walking around the NHL draft in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And I'm rocking the ring.
Horrendous place. Let's get that established. Go ahead. Yeah.
But at this point in time, there's so many players that used to be with the Hurricanes that have moved on to different teams.
Of course.
So I'm walking through the concourse and I know like every single team, like every office in there, they all know me. So I feel like, hey, this is fucking awesome. I'm like, how the hell did this happen?
Right.
So, but I see, what's his name? Something Doug Kelly. What was his name from the Flyers?
Doug Kelly.
Doug Kelly?
Yeah.
He's looking at my ring and he's like, how the fuck do you have that ring? Like, who the fuck are you?
Right.
And I'm just like, yeah, sir, comes interviewing him because we were doing all these interviews to cover the draft.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm just going to be interviewing you. He's like, how did you get that ring? He's like, I want to know. I go, I'm a videographer for the team. He's like, yeah, but why do you have that ring? He wouldn't let it go. He's like, you didn't earn that ring, you know.
You obviously did.
Yeah,
Dave Kelly.
Yeah.
Go suck a dick, Dave Kelly. Okay? And he joked that he didn't have one and he's never going to have one. Did he wind up having one? We don't think he did. No.
I don't think so.
I don't think he ever did.
Yeah, he can suck it.
But what was cool about that is I got to meet that day, the Flyers, they had every single captain from their entire franchise history.
Oh, really? Wow.
And I got to interview all of them. It was pretty fucking cool.
Is that?
Yeah, man.
God.
Dave Clark.
This is an impressive life lived here, Tony.
I gotta start making some moves.
You do have to.
I gotta catch up to Don Sill.
You definitely do. No, and you also used to be back in the day. You dabbled in comedy for a while as well, which I know you don't anymore.
Yeah. So comedy. So back in the day, I'll take it to the very beginning, real quick. I'll be fast. I was born I was working in a hospital as a janitor, and I was stripping and waxing floors.
And you got more fucking stories than Forrest Gump the way you've lived.
And
he's working as a janitor, and he solved this math equation.
That's it.
Yeah, it's similar.
Good Sill hunting.
Finally, you finally
3 years.
Yeah.
How did that not all these years and I'm hearing this now?
Yeah.
This is so perfect.
That's it.
So I write a short story.
How do you like this fucking ring? I like them apples.
Yeah, you like these apples.
I like these Philly ring, douchebag.
Doug Kelly.
Oh man! But I wrote a short story and they got published by this magazine and they came to the hospital and took all these pictures of me.
Okay. And
it was the first time I felt like, holy shit! I could do this.
I'm something.
There's something I can. This isn't my life. I could make something. I could do something else. So that gave me this feeling that I could do anything. And so then from there, I went back to Stony Brook University. Ended up getting into radio. And then
you had 2 meetings a week with Robin Williams. You had to go to his office.
Yeah, I had to go there, talk to Robin Williams. He told me it wasn't my fault. It's not your fault.
Your picture's shit, Robin. Who did he say, Chief? Who drew this shitty picture?
And then, and then from there, everything just kind of snowballed, and one thing led to the next thing, and I was writing for Good Times Magazine and all this stuff, and then I said, fuck it, I want to do comedy.
Yeah.
I'm going to do comedy. So then I started doing comedy, and what I loved the most about comedy was the camaraderie, and I was doing it at McGuire's at the time.
Was that the first place you went up at McGuire's?
Yeah, first place I went up was McGuire's, and I wrote a whole set for like 5 minutes. Jeff Cole, I don't know if you guys know Jeff.
Yeah,
King.
of course. Jeff with a G.
Yeah, he was my before I knew he was a comedian. He was my landlord.
Was he really?
Yeah,
Wow.
he owned this house in Brentwood, and I lived I lived upstairs. The landlord, lived downstairs in a small apartment. And I didn't like him. I thought he was an asshole. But then all of a sudden I go to a comedy club and he's there, and I'm like, "What the fuck you do?" And then we hit it off, and so I went to his open mics. And I started doing comedy, and I loved the camaraderie, and I met lots of great people there, and they were all coming on my radio show at WUSB, and then from there I was like writing for Good Times, and I had all this this whole little thing going on, but at one point I bombed really bad, and I realized comedy might not be. I love comedy. I love comedians.
But you just didn't want to be your wheelhouse forever.
But it's not. Yeah, I don't know if I had what it takes.
Yeah.
Because you guys know, you're all comedians. You need a thick skin. You need resilience. You got to be resilient.
Yes.
Tell Mark how you knew when it was time to give up.
I'm still trying.
But do you have the itch now to still write a little?
I have the
because you're a hell of a writer, also.
Yeah, great writer.
I'm sure you have a great stage. But do you have an itch to get up there?
I always have the
walls.
itch to try it again, but you know what stops me? It's not going up. It's
the lack of funny.
I don't. Yeah, the lack of funny, but the lifestyle you have to have. Like if I really wanted to pursue it, you have to really go for it. Like, and I'm an older dog now. Like I don't know if I could go all these weekends or road trips or this that or paying your dues, and that's why I commend everyone who starts doing comedy and really pays the dues to get there.
You get really nice sweaters when you're in comedy.
Exactly. Only the best sweaters. You don't get much else. Sweaters and chicken wings.
But it's the most real people, dude. Like I've been around like athletes. Like I've interviewed all these athletes. Like that was my job. I would interview them. You ever watched on the jumbotron talking to like somebody? And he's like, yeah. So my family and whatever they say.
Yeah.
I was the guy on the other side of that getting those quotes.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I interviewed all of them, and they're not real. These are people that are fucking media trained.
Right.
They're told what to say. That sometimes their PR people come and go, you can't use that last answer. That's
Right.
Yeah, you gotta edit stuff out.
and
Empty suits.
and comedians. And then actors are the same way, like real actors, like Hollywood, they're a little fake too.
Yeah.
So I think that's what lures me, the allure to comedians is that they're real. You're not getting bullshitted all the time.
We talk about it a lot. The best times we have, like I love being on stage. I enjoy it very much. But the best times we have are right across the hall in that green room,
Right.
Yeah.
hanging out and busting.
There's
each
no
other's chops
doubt.
and-
You don't give a lot on stage, but in the green room, you are entertaining. You're very funny in the green room, which is what you people want.
That's what I'm there for. Exactly. That's it.
You in the green room.
That's how I still get gigs. Like he's not good on stage. We like
You
hanging
are
out with him
lights
back
out.
there.
Oh my god! Like wait till Mike's off stage. He'll tell us a
Did
funny
he say
story.
good still hunting? That's great. And then I get out on stage and
We can really probably put together a really funny fucking screenplay for Good Still Hunting, though.
Yeah,
I'm just
that'd
thinking
be
about it
fucking
right now.
awesome.
Yeah, we're gonna shoot a video.
Good
after
Still
this.
Hunting.
I love that. I love that. I'm guessing one of the things, and I meant to talk about this last week with Mikey, but was one of the things that bothered you about stand-up, probably the thing that bothers me the most, is when you're talking to someone about coming to see you perform, and they pull the old, don't you heckle me! Don't you heckle me! Like,
exactly.
What is the urge not to reach and the person's neck and just try to to suck all the air out of their lungs
100%.
when they do that?
Exactly.
Like, why the fuck would I want to heckle you?
Even on Sunday night, I'm doing a show, and that was the first thing. This woman came.
You're in Long Beach or
in
something?
Long Beach,
Yeah.
Docks. And this woman came. She sat at the table, and she was like right up front. Don't you heckle me? I'm like,
Right.
now I want to just.
Right.
But
I want
why
to,
do people? Why do people think that they're so important that I'm going to go ahead and take the biggest chance here on heckling someone that I don't have any fucking clue anything about you.
I could lose this whole
like
crowd
I'm not a
because
fucking.
I want to talk about you.
I'm not a paid monkey here.
Exactly.
Like, what am I gonna? That's not what this is all about
exactly.
here.
I have an act, lady.
But I honestly, and certainly it drives me nuts, and Mike knows how I feel about it. There are certain comics that you see, and they're doing now is crowd work.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. And I'm not a crowd work lover unless it's someone, number one, who's really good at it, and they're not using stock trick little tips that you can do. Right. And some of it is just like cheap laughter grabs on there. There are some people who do crowd work that are
there
just
are some that are just so good at stream
but I
of
think it's
conscious
getting burned out though.
And it is.
It is getting burned out.
I don't care where you're from or what you do for a living.
It
I don't
doesn't
care if
matter.
you're married.
But what is the idea now? And I've seen multiple comics do this where they're doing just crowd work specials. Didn't that fucking Matt Rife do just a
did
crowd work special?
That Jay guy just did one.
Oh, it's just that's all. Jay only does crowd
so
work.
there's what's his name? The other guy, Mike Cannon.
Mike Cannon,
yeah. But Mike Cannon, but he's funny though. He can do good at it. He can do time though.
Like that Jay guy has 2 specials out now. They're like
I don't get it.
Two.
I don't
it's
get
all crowd work, but it's all the same thing with him. Also, it's just like, oh, you dated a black guy.
So
dad's mad. You know, like that's
right.
This is where that's exactly right. Where I get annoyed is that when the audience isn't smart enough to understand that the crowd work that the person is doing is all stock crowd work.
It's all written,
It's all written. It's not just stuff that you're, if you go up there and you have an answer for every turn that someone's going in, that's stock crowd work.
Yeah,
that's not original thinking on your toes type of shit.
Right, because they are like looking for where's the Asian guy?
Hey,
where's
sir,
how
are
you? Yeah, and then I got 5 Asian jokes lined up for you.
If you watch this guy Phil Hanley, you know who Phil Hanley is? He does phenomenal crowd work, and you can tell that it's not stock because it's always different people and shit like that.
Ian Bagg's a good crowd work guy. I don't know if you know him. Ian Bagg. Voss is a good crowd work guy. Who's great?
Andrew Schultz.
Andrew Schultz is a phenomenal crowd work guy. Gallo is a great
phenomenal. And again, Gallo doesn't do it stock. Gallo will do original shit that you've never seen before.
I've done probably 100 shows with George Gallo.
You've probably done more than 100 shows with George Gallo.
I'm sure. And we
He's
have
like a jazz type of comic.
Exactly.
You're never going to hear the same song the same way.
Never heard the same set twice in the hundreds and plus times.
I think I told you the story when I first started doing stand-up, or right before, I would come out to some shows to see some acts, and I brought a buddy of mine who was not, he would never laugh at comics. Nobody would ever make him laugh. And I looked over at one point when Gallo was on stage, and he was gasping for air. And he never fucking laughed. He never laughed. So that just shows you what a comedic genius Gallo is.
The first time when I was doing comedy back in the day, Gallo was around and fucking awesome even then. And we were doing the show at the Brick House Brewery in Patchogue, and I went up already and I did my stupid Rocky taking the shit bit, you gotta cut it, Nicky, cut it, all stuff, right? Whatever, real hacky stuff. And then I'm sitting down and he's up there and he's doing his thing with the vacuum and all that shit. And I'm sitting there and he does a joke and he called me out on it. He's rightfully so, because he was correct in when he said it. Because he looked at me and he said a joke and I didn't laugh. I just went, because I thought in my mind I'm a comedian, which I really wasn't. But I really wasn't. But I thought I can't laugh at another. I had to So he said, "Oh, wait, you can't laugh at me because you're a comedian." And he just went off on me, and I deserved it. And he taught me a lesson that day. And from then on, I was like, "Fuck it, I enjoy everyone. I'm gonna laugh."
I totally agree.
And he does crazy stuff. Like I've seen him. He had a ladder one time, and he just walked through the audience. Went on stage, put the ladder down, didn't acknowledge it at all for a half hour. Grabbed the ladder, went off, and just left.
That's
just
fucking awesome.
Stuff like that. It's amazing.
I love that.
He had at the same time, him and Ray Romano were both represented by Rory Rosegarden. This is right before Everybody Loves Raymond. And all these years later, Chris Monty was telling me he was hanging out with Rory Rosegarden. He goes, if you had told me that I had to let go of one of those guys because one of them was going to be famous, I would have said Ray Romano's out. Easily, Gallo's going to be the famous,
and he was right. He was right. It's so funny you mentioned about comics not laughing at other comics. I guess this is why I don't fit into the prototypical comic, description. My favorite thing is that when my set's over, to go in the back of the showroom and watch the show and just laugh like I'm a regular person in the audience. I love doing that. I think that's fantastic. So I don't know why it is that comics don't think they don't think they can laugh at other comics.
Yeah.
Some of them.
It's weird, and I think for me then it was a rookie move.
Yeah.
Like I just thought, like I'm, like I thought,
Right, I'm not allowed to laugh.
Right.
You weren't even being a dick. You thought you weren't supposed to.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And and he called me out, and
And it's it. That's awesome.
I still, I like the same as Mark. I like sitting back. There's comics that I don't like, and I'll purposely sit there and let them see that I'm not laughing because I don't like them.
Oh yeah,
that's the game inside the game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I'm one of those guys, like, I'll be like featuring for somebody, and they'll be like, "You don't have to." They're headlining. Like, you don't have to stay for my set. You live, on Long Island. We're in Jersey. Just go home. I'm like, no, I want to sit and watch you.
Support you.
I don't, because like I'll work in the city all the time, and all these city comics, they do their set and they walk right out. They leave. They don't watch any of the other comics.
No, you're like, I want to support you, Carla. That's what I want to do. Yeah.
Well, do you hear what Ismo did to Fat Jay?
No.
So Ismo was doing a 90-minute set. Fat Jay opened for him, and he goes to Fat Jay. He goes, "You got to sit and watch my whole set." He goes, "Why?" He goes, "Well, in case I have to go to the bathroom or something, I might have to leave, and you come and fill in for me."
Really? No.
So he sat there the whole time, and then somebody told him, he goes, "I think he's fucking with you."
Yeah, I'm sure.
And
Exactly.
Jay's like, "Wait, what?"
Oh, that's hilarious.
That's hilarious.
That's so funny. I love that.
That's funny.
Before we continue, we're gonna pay some more bills, Tone. If you're ready to rock and roll, our second set of sponsorships for the Hershey and Keegs show starts with Keith Dunn's American Restoration Solutions. When disaster strikes, they'll guide you to recovery. Call 516-662-9377 and ask for Senior Account Manager Keith Dunn. We have New View Construction, established in 2007. They are the people to call for the finest craftsmanship and all of your general contracting needs. Call 516-924-5627 and do it with confidence. We, of course, have Sip and Serve, waitress and bartending services. Elevate your next private party with the Sip and Serve squad. Their awesome bar and waitstaff will ensure your event will be unforgettable. Book now and let them handle the details while you enjoy the celebration. Call Jen at 516-528-6783. And, of course, last but not least, as always, the beautiful New York State licensed real estate person, Diane Keegan. That's Mike's mom.
That's how you're pointing at me. That's my mom. Oh.
That's why I was pointing at you.
Yes.
From All Island Estates Realty Corporation. You can call Diane directly at 516-458-1864 or email her at diane@allislandestates.com. If you're looking to rent, sell, buy, make Diane your first call. And speaking of which, I think Diane had a story that she wanted to tell us.
Oh, did she?
Potentially on the air. Tony, you want to hit up that number? Is that you okay with that? Call Diane.
All right, good.
I'll give you the.
She might have something to say.
It's 516. No, it's the number right here. It's not a private number. It's the number that we're giving out to everybody. Yeah.
Okay, I got nervous.
Give out mine.
Really?
That's it.
You're doxing my mom?
Her social security number is 107-516-458-1864. I am the king of the segues.
Well, you really are.
I should be riding a Segway in here. Yeah.
Very nicely
Again,
done.
this is not. We don't know if she's going to answer.
Who knows?
It's
This is
live radio, live TV.
It's ringing.
And
Hi.
Mama Keegs, how are you?
Good. How are you?
You're on the Hershey and the Keegs show with Mark Hirschman, Mike Keegan. That's your son, the great Don Sill, and the Sill of the Night, and
Hello,
Tony
Mama
Walker.
Keegs.
And we were just talking about you and your wonderful All Island Real Estate Company Corporation thingamajig. And you had texted that you had a little story to tell me about a house in Levittown. Are you comfortable telling me about the house in Levittown on air?
she doesn't remember, does she?
Are you there, Mama Keegs?
Oh, we lost her.
Oh, my
Okay.
God. Is she okay?
Oh, my God. Is she, somebody,
God.
Somebody go do a wellness check. Oh, there she is.
You want to tell us the story, Mama
Mark.
Keegs?
I'm ready. I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. You okay?
I'm here.
So, do you want to tell me the story? You want to tell us the story on air that you wanted to tell me over the weekend?
Yes. So what happened was, wait a second. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Still
Thank
hear
you.
Okay. So Mark, did you drive?
I drove past the house, and I'm familiar with the house because it's right around the block from my kid's old elementary school. So I know the house. Tony, what's going on with Mike's mom?
It's probably her phone.
I think it's her phone.
Yeah,
It's her phone.
I would, don't blame Tony automatically.
I wanted to because I felt bad for your mom and her bullshit phone line that you won't pay for a new phone line for her.
Are you there?
I'm here.
Okay.
What's wrong with your phone, Mama Keegs?
I don't think it's my phone.
No, Tony does. He does this all day, and there's never any audio issues whatsoever. So just stand. Is it reception maybe sometimes in the house?
Let me try and tell you the story real quick. So
Go ahead.
Mark, you drove by the house, right?
Yes, ma'am, I did. Is she just taking dramatic pauses?
Is she watching and then responding to that? Because that's 30 seconds behind us.
Oh, she may be on the delay.
She might be watching it and then.
Yeah, it sounds like we're on a delay.
Yeah, you're on a delay.
no,
So
you're-
just talk. Just talk like you would normally.
Don't pay attention at all to the TV or to the radio. It's on a delay.
Okay.
Just speak right
Okay.
into the phone like it's a regular conversation.
Okay, so Mark, so you drove by the house. I want you to put a picture.
My God in heaven, Mike. Now Mom's ruining the show too.
So I'm talking.
Go ahead. We can't hear
Okay,
you.
so Mark, you drove
Yeah.
by the house.
Yes.
I want you to put a picture of it
Yeah.
so you can appreciate the story.
Okay.
So I haven't passed by there in a while. The picture Mike.
Yep.
Picture Mike. He's not even 3 years old, and he walked out that front door.
Yep. We're going to lose the show, aren't we, over this? All right, we're going to have to disconnect Mama Keegs because of the bad
I think we'll have to
connection.
try another time.
Not even 3 years old.
Yes. I have such anxiety right now. I've been...
And I'm behind him.
Yes.
And I'm like, Mike, where you going?
Right.
And now you saw the houses, so we backed up to Abbey School.
To Abbey Lane School, right on the corner there of Gardner's Avenue and the Abbey Lane School. That's correct, yeah. Mm-hmm. Good. I got you.
And he said, I'm going to the playground.
Right.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. My God, I can't believe the show's going to end this way.
But
3 years of hard work.
but you figure this little 3-year-old pipsqueak, he was very tiny
Right.
at 3 years old.
I imagine so. Yeah.
Can you imagine on the main road there, Gardner's Avenue and
What's
Holster
back-
Lane,
yes.
and there's Mike
Yes.
going to the playground
Yeah.
by himself.
I can't imagine this.
I'm very independent.
Yes. And that's it?
Every time you speak, it's throwing her off.
But it's just, I happen to pass.
She's never had this problem before, though.
How many times have you talked to her?
We've had her on the phone multiple times
Yeah.
before. It's never happened. She's listening. Are you
Anyway, whenever I pass the house, it reminds me of that day.
that he? Well, so for people who need to understand, the distance from this home to the field is about 200 yards. So this little pipsqueak, little Mikey, was trying to walk. Like, I'm going to go ahead and independently walk
There's a
from
nice
my
little
house.
playground there. Yeah.
But it was a nice playground. But it was a good 3 football fields away from your home.
Absolutely.
And without the pauses and delays and hesitation, this
I
would have
was
been a great story.
I was a willful child.
You are willful, and we love Mama Keegs. And thank you for sharing that with us tonight, Mama Keegs.
Mama Keegs.
Thank you. Have
Yay.
a good evening.
Mama Keegs.
All right.
Say hello to Papa Keegs for us, please.
All right. Where were
Okay. Cut it. Let's go.
I'm keeping it on. She'll respond in about 20 minutes.
No, she's fine. We love you, Mama Keegs and Papa Keegs.
Love you guys too.
All right.
All right.
Be
Great
well.
show. Great
Thank
show
you.
tonight. Love you.
Yeah.
Love all of you.
Ruin that.
Yep,
Bye.
exactly.
Goddamn thing,
Now you-
Tony.
now you-
Bye-bye.
Bye now. Tony's under the impression that she was listening to the delay.
Yeah.
The show's on tape delay because that's just what professional
'cause-
operations
Yeah,
do.
just in case you drop an N-bomb or something.
Right. Oh, me. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, exactly.
So Tony's under the impression that she was in delay because of the fact that she was paying attention
Yeah,
to.
because of the FCC guidelines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well. Oh, get some.
Nicely done.
Wow.
Wow, that's nice.
Good
Tony.
job,
Wow.
Tony.
That's great. You're good. You're good, Tony.
You are good
You're
at
very
that.
good.
We have to get the scene where you go to my house and I'm gone.
Yeah, exactly.
Believe me, I wish for
You
that.
know what I wish? Every day I wish that I show up there and you're not there.
We should reenact that scene. I just wish I never saw your face again.
Do the scene where where you're telling him it's not his fault.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And then you
Oh,
have to
100%.
hug. But he
can
might
tell
get
me hurt.
excited.
It might
yeah.
get very excited.
Every
You could be
He's
the
Ben
Robin
Affleck
Williams.
and he's
No.
he's
I want to be to see you. Every day I wish I come into the studio on Tuesdays and you don't come in. And then you open up their door.
Every day I don't want to see you anymore.
That's it. Every time you walk through that door at 8:59, I wish it didn't happen.
I don't want to see anyone. Don't do it for you. Do it for me.
Do it for me, exactly.
Can we tell them the story of the preparation for tonight? Can we tell them?
Yeah,
that? We don't have to.
Yeah.
About
about the asparagus.
Yes. Yes. Is that all right? We don't have to.
No, you can tell a story.
You want me to do
Very
it?
embarrassing.
Could you see if you could stammer and pause for a little bit?
So, you have a video idea that you want to record after the show.
Yep.
And you had texted all, like you mentioned before.
Yeah.
You texted all of
Silver
them.
night.
Yep.
Right. Right.
Yep.
So Don came over early. We went out to grab a bite, and we were about to come here, and he says, "Well, on the way, we got to stop at the supermarket." I was like, "Stop at the supermarket?"
Yeah.
He goes, "Yeah, you got to stop at the supermarket." He goes, "I got to get some asparagus."
Asparagus.
I'm like, "Okay." I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, "What are we getting asparagus
What
for?"
are we
He says,
asparagus for?
He goes, "Well, that's what Mark asked for to do this skit." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, he asked that we get asparagus.
Yeah, I did.
I'm like, "All right, I don't remember that, but all right." I said, "I don't recall that." Full disclosure, we're walking to the supermarket.
The whole time he's like, I don't know about this.
Well, but full disclosure, I was like, "This is Mark's skit. He should buy the free."
Yeah,
asparagus.
that's what I was thinking. I'm like, you
Right.
should get the goddamn asparagus.
So we're at the supermarket, and Don's like, "All right, well, it's only $5." And I said, "No, you get the $5 back."
Yeah.
But anyway, we go. Don pays for it.
Why are you being so hostile about it? You know I'm very generous when it comes to things financially.
In all seriousness, you absolutely are. You absolutely are.
I'm always the first one to
Yes.
and Venmo and stuff, but you're still hostile.
You are the
about it.
first one to Venmo. 'Cause, you're like the only one that Venmos around here.
Why are you hostile about this makeup asparagus? Though?
I'm exaggerating. I mean, I was saying those things, but I wasn't.
Yeah.
He wasn't mad.
Get the money from that fucking Jew. It's his asparagus. I'm like, what did I do?
Oh, it's like he was there.
What's funny is I didn't even ask for asparagus.
I said, I think he needs. He said he wanted asparagus, and if we had it to bring it, so I'm gonna just. Can we stop at the store and get the asparagus?
So
Sure
what a
enough-
fucking great guy Don Selling.
Sure enough, he pays for it, and then he goes, "Can you imagine he didn't ask for this?" I said, "Yeah, maybe you're confusing him with your wife."
Yeah.
Sure enough, so we get in the car. We're about to come here, and before I start driving, I look at my phone,
Yeah.
and it was a text from you.
Yeah.
But it was, you were asking about recording the skit, and you said
apparatus.
Right.
Yeah. I said apparatus. Yeah.
And in his head it was asparagus.
Yeah.
So we already bought it.
Well, now I'm gonna bring it home and eat it later. But I love asparagus. Luckily,
I hate asparagus. So
I laughed so hard at my face.
It's
I was
fucking
choking.
hilarious.
I was
Yeah.
laughing my
because I
ass off.
thought, and I even wrote back, I'll get some.
I was gonna say, like, because you wrote, you responded.
I saw that and I'm like, I don't know what that really means, but okay.
Because I was driving.
I saw the text.
Yeah, I'm like, oh,
And I'm
shit,
like,
okay.
is that some sort of like
Without, in my mind, I'm thinking you have some crazy sketch idea because
That's
you're like,
amazing. That's hilarious.
No.
So Mark wrote, without going nuts, if you have any apparatus we can use to shoot a video of ourselves, bring
Right,
it.
yeah.
And Don writes back, LOL, I'll get some.
Yeah,
I actually have it in the car.
I didn't know what he meant. Get some. Like, I thought that Don had like a house full of
Yeah, he had a storage
equipment
shed or
like,
something.
yeah, like equipment. He had like.
Yeah, you don't have to buy video
Right.
equipment.
So at least now we can do that sketch where we jam asparagus up your ass. We can just jam asparagus up your ass for a half hour straight. We can do that.
That's the other sketch you were gonna do.
No, but I did. Didn't you see the LOL? Like, I'll get some.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
yeah, you know, I didn't get
I
the
don't
LOL
know
exactly,
what
yeah.
that meant.
I was like, all right.
I thought it because you used the word like apparatus, you know, like
Yeah. No, I didn't spell it wrong, did I?
No, it's all my fault. I misread it, and I was just like, I even told my wife after I got home, because I was driving. I saw it in the car. Then I got home. I go, "When do we have any asparagus?" she goes, "No, why?" I go, "We need it for some."
the
sketch."
Jewish kid wants some.
She's like, "Oh, are they jamming it up Keegan's ass again?"
Even today, when she got home from work and I was leaving to come here, I was like, "Yeah, I got to stop at the store first to get asparagus." I say, "But It was like on my mind all day.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
It just shows you what a nice person.
Thank you for
Don is
telling
now.
us. So, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
It just shows you what like
What a kind person. He didn't even question it.
I would say like why would you just say like it's your skit? Just
And
pick
this
it
is
up.
like this is like a week ago. Like you couldn't get asparagus,
Right.
and then the next week. Like, why you asking poor
I know
son?
King Cullen's closed, but come
I
on.
know, right? Exactly.
Wait, hold on. And the guy must be thinking I'm driving 95 miles to get to Governor's, and I have to pick up
And
the
I had to pick up
asparagus.
the asparagus.
I was just like,
I should be the last one to pick up the asparagus.
it was like the
Not
first
it.
thing. It was the first thing I said to Tony too. I said, "Hey Tony," I said, "Is where we're going because we went to the diner." I was like, "Is it near a food place?"
My God,
Like,
I can't even get over this. Like, yeah.
So
Well,
I
at least
made
you're gonna have
sure-
a nice chicken and asparagus.
Yeah, I'm
tomorrow
definitely
night.
gonna eat these asparagus.
So
I love
you guys
asparagus.
went to the diner and you still have enough wherewithal to like think about where I'm going to stop to get asparagus.
And we did went to a nice little grocery store.
You know what? Would
We weighed it. I put it on the scale. That's true.
Oh my God. It would be great if Tony, if they ordered dinner and he'd like, I'm going to have the bacon cheeseburger fries and stalks of asparagus.
Definitely extra asparagus back there.
Well, I mean, I feel like we should make do with it
We
somehow.
gotta do something with this.
Maybe we'll take a
asparagus
little
now.
turn on
Yeah.
as far as what we're going to do as far as the sketch is concerned. Wow,
That's great.
That's really great. That just says what a good person you are.
Yeah.
Speaking of a good person, we'll take a little bit of a turn. We should definitely honor, it came down today, the news of the passing of legendary sportscaster Al Troutwig.
Yes.
Which was, you know what? I was a very quick guest on Peter Schwartz's radio show today, and I said something there that I'll say now. And all of us are old enough, even though Mikey, you're younger. You know who Al Troutwig is.
I knew him from when the Yankees were bad, when he was
Yeah.
with the Yankees,
Right.
but then mostly with the Rangers. After
Rangers.
That. My mom graduated with him.
So
High school.
you're very familiar with him.
Yeah.
You want to call your mom?
Yeah, call her. Call her up. Tell her Al Troutwig story.
Hold on, she's still answering the last question from 45 minutes ago. One
There
thing
was a
I
playground near Al Troutwig's house.
said, and Mike, he was just so cute and little, and he was down the block by Al Troutwig's house. Something I said, and I think it can ring true for all four of us who are all sports lovers. Tony's a huge Met fan. He's an Islander fan. I'm a Yankee fan. Mike is a Yankee fan, and so forth. When something like this happens, I don't think that someone who's a non-sports lover understands truly how people like us get impacted, because it is truly you lose a part of yourself and a part of your childhood when someone that you've watched so many times over and over again passes away, especially at a young age like this. Don't you feel that way, that it's a punch in the stomach when you hear an Al Troutwig? How many nights did you spend watching Al Troutwig?
Yeah,
it's a
right
part of your childhood. It's a fabric of
it's fabric of who you are.
Yeah.
When a team wins,
yeah,
I don't know, pick whatever championship team you want.
Yeah.
But you spend a lot of time watching these games on TV, so these announcers they're part of that whole memory.
They're
of it
part
all.
of it. They're part of it. They're getting champagne dumped on them. They're in there. When Kim Jones was on the air with us, she was talking about her relationship with the players and Derek Jeter and so forth. And Al Troutwig, I never had a chance to meet him, but I watched him a million times. He absolutely struck me as a guy that the players loved and that his coworkers loved. And Peter got emotional on the air today, you were saying as well.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's really like one of the things we were going to talk about, and if we have time, we still will. But Don does a thing on his show called Top 5. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Best 5, Top 5?
Fives.
And I think one of you guys mentioned the top 5 sportscaster teams, and this was before the passing of Al Troutwig. So I thought it was kind of ironic that he had passed. Al Troutwig was exceptional at every single thing he did. He was in the Olympics calling gymnastics. He called Yankee games. He called Ranger games, Knick games, post, pre-game show. I mean, you were comfortable when he came on the air. You were comfortable. You were in a place where you're like, this guy's taking over, and I know what I'm watching here now, right?
Right.
So when I was younger and playing hockey, like I'm a big Islander fan now. I was actually a Ranger fan back then. So I
really?
enjoyed the Rangers would win. I'd see Alex Troutwig afterwards, but now I transitioned into an Islander fan and a woman.
You just transitioned.
Transitioned into many things.
I don't know. I just think that as I mentioned on Peter's show, that my closest friends since I'm a little kid, and they're still my friends today, we all have the common theme is that we all are sports junkies. And it's what binds us in many ways. A lot of my buddies I played sports with as a kid, but constantly we're texting about the Yankees or with Tony the Mets or Don the Panther, whatever the case may be. And the amount of hours that we spent watching an Al Trautwig is probably in the thousands, right? And that's a big part of your life. Yeah. So a guy like this deserves to be honored. You know, he definitely does, and I hope that the Yankees, the Rangers, whatever teams that he was a part of, I hope they do it right. Yeah, because a guy like that deserves it. So rest in peace, Al Trautwig. But so I like to try to like honor our guests in a certain way, and certainly as a little bit of an homage to Don, because one of the things he does on his show is this top 5, and we threw out a couple of ideas, and some of them, like best 5 comics on Long Island. Well, that's basically us two, and then a few other people.
A couple of them are in here right now.
Let's do a little homage to Don and talk about the best, the top 5 sportscaster teams of our lifetime. Let's throw some out there and see what we can come up with. Go ahead, Donnie. Let's start with one.
Well, the one I'll start with is just because I work with these guys, and so you might not be familiar with it, but it's John Forsland, who now John Forsland does hockey for NBC's hockey and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then he had Trip Tracy was his sidekick, was the color guy. Trip played for a cup of coffee.
Right. Anyone that our audience is going to care about.
But I was going to say John Forsland he's a Boston guy.
Okay.
Great human being, and you talk about growing up listening to these people, but when you work with these guys for like 12, 13 years, there's also a camaraderie, and there's also Chuck Caton, Hall of Famer. He's in the NHL Hall of Fame for radio broadcasting. So
cut his mic, Tony.
Those guys, I would say, are the best. Well, that's what for me the majority of that. But if we're going popular,
yes,
I'll say like Bob Costas.
Okay, Bob Costas. Okay, Bob Costas. There you go. Good. Bob Costas by himself, or Bob Costas with? I mean, was Bob Costas really kind of known for doing it on his own, right? Like he's not always connected with a pairing.
He's just
like for me growing up. For Yankee wise, it was Bill White, Frank Messer, and Phil Rizzuto. Do you remember those days in the 80s? Yeah, that's a little bit before you, but your dad certainly knows that. But my childhood was very connected to those 3 guys. Like that was who I knew.
Yeah.
Those 3 guys, that was a comfort place that when I hear them to this day, watching old YouTube videos, whatever, it brings me back to being a little kid. Okay. And then, the ABC booth, it was, who it was Don Meredith. It was Frank Gifford. Keith Jackson, and I think
old school now.
Yes,
like,
Keith Jackson. Yeah.
Again, if I hear tapes of those guys and Cosell, like that brings you back to that place. Like those guys.
We're the same age. I'm like, man, you're going way back. I was like a little kid. Yeah, but that was great. Those are the voices that resonate when you hear it. Like when you watch old stuff and you hear, those voices, that old school broadcasting voice. They're not the same like
absolutely.
That
you probably connect the most with at your age with Jiggs McDonald, right? No, seriously, no. Jiggs has been.
He's actually going to be. That fundraiser event. He's going to be there.
He will be. Okay. Yeah, I think we really need to talk about that, about you and I going to that for sure.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Yeah. So Ed Westfall and Jizz McDonald. Jizz. That's a different movie.
That's a whole other guy. That's a whole other dude.
Hey, his name is
No, that's that video you sent me on VHS.
Jizz McDonald's the weird Ronald McDonald.
Right. That's exactly right.
He gives weird gifts to kids.
He has very long boots and no pants.
Very special Happy Meal.
So would you say that for your childhood that's who sticks out?
That's some of the voices I remember. Also like a John Madden, Pat Summerall.
Oh man, like God damn, you get a little goosebumpy when you hear that.
That team.
How do you beat that team? How do you beat that team in football? Really, that's really
John Madden. How do you beat John Madden? But
fucking video game about him.
Pat Summerall just played off him so.
Oh
probably
my God,
the
that's amazing.
I'd say.
Yeah.
Now, my hunch is out of respect for Tony and his Met fandom, Ralph Kiner, Bob Murphy. I don't know if there's been a more beautiful tone to a voice and a way of calling a game than Bob Murphy ever. I mean,
I'm
you're
you're absolutely
biased.
right. Big fans of those.
Yeah.
However, well, a couple of things. First off, with the anniversary just passed, of course, Al Michaels with the great,
Yeah.
League of
Michaels,
Miracles.
yes.
Yeah.
But as far as teams,
Yeah.
I go a little later than that. Ralph Kiner and Tim McCarver. Tim McCarver, in my opinion, changed
yes.
the whole way
Yes.
of broadcasting. He was my absolute favorite. Although the current Mets threesome, I think, might be the best
I was just
broadcasting
gonna say
team. I think they might be one of the best of
So
all
Gary
time.
Cohen-
Booth is the best in baseball.
Ron Darling, Gary Cohn, Keith Hernandez are the gold standard
Yeah.
in baseball announcing. And you know the way things work in life is that we have revisionist history. So they may not get the credit historically yet because we're living it right now. But at
they're
some
20
point,
years in.
No, I think they're fantastic. What I'm saying is it might not be until they're gone and they're no longer a team that we appreciate
Right,
it.
yeah.
Whereas, you had like Vince Scully did this until he was 80 something or 90
Right,
it was,
yeah.
and certainly people revered him while he was doing it. But obviously, when he passed, people were like, "Whoa, there's no one who's ever done it like Vince Scully." So Vince Scully, Bob Murphy, Howard Cosell, certainly a different twang on things, I guess,
but entertaining.
But
and you do
fantastic.
associate him with that, with
Yeah.
these big giant sporting. I mean, like, for our age, you don't think about Muhammad Ali without thinking about Cosell.
That's a good
Exactly.
point. That's a good point. Nowadays it's a little bit different. Like it seems like you take the greatest athlete and they want to throw Tom Brady in there, and I'm not certain that Tom Brady is going to be a great announcer. I don't know if he is.
I think he dropped the ball a little bit, no pun intended, with the
Yeah.
Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I wasn't
Yeah.
thinking, I
But
was-
he's still new at it,
I wasn't.
too.
Yeah, I'm not
but
saying he
still,
won't be.
Who
I'm
gets
just
the
saying-
practice of the
In
Super
the
Bowl?
Super Bowl, exactly.
Yeah,
Tom
true.
Brady
Yeah.
does
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
He improved from the Super Bowl was okay, but
Right.
it was still kind of rough.
If you don't mind me saying, I reminded myself of something.
Please,
when I
do
said
it.
Cosell and Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
Do you guys know Don's Muhammad Ali story?
No.
You know
I
what? We're
would
getting
love
to the end
hear.
of the show. Let's close
It's,
up.
it's
with
worth
that.
it.
Yeah.
It's worth it.
Let's do it.
If you,
That's a
I
great
hope
way
you
to
don't.
close the show.
You don't mind?
No, I wanna hear that.
I'll do the fast version. How
No,
much-
it's okay.
It's a great freaking story.
If it doesn't end in rise up, we don't want to hear it.
It was like him going,
Rise up. Rise up, Don. Rise up. I sting like a butterfly. I rise up like a bee. And then he changed it. He changed the whole song.
It all starts with a movie audition. So I went to Manhattan to audition for a movie called Gladiator, but not the Are You Entertained? Not that
Yeah.
one.
The
Russell Crowe
The other
Gladiator.
one with Brian Dennehy and I think a young Cuba Gooding Jr. It was about street fighting.
This was Glad He Ate Her.
Yeah, and that's where I got the asparagus.
That's good. There you go.
That's where the
Nice little
asparagus
I wonder
comes.
why it smelled like asparagus in there. You took a piss before? Is that what happened?
So we go and audition, and there's all these, what do they call those guys?
Actors?
With the red berets on. The
Guardian
Angels.
Yeah.
They're all auditioning
Curtis
too.
Lewa.
Yeah, Curtis Lewa, all those guys. So I just always like to start the story with this whole thing. So I get up there to do the audition, and they go, "Do you know karate?" And I go, "Yes." And they go, "Okay, show us some of your karate." And I'm just like, yeah. So they're like, "Get the fuck out of here." So we're all driving home from the city, and me and my brother auditioned. God bless my brother, and also a friend of mine, Dave, and my ex-girlfriend / I ended up marrying her. So we're all driving back, and we're all kind of like down. So we drive by Hofstra University, and it says Sandy Koufax and Muhammad Ali come out. So we're like, "What time is it?"
What year is this?
This is the 80s still. This
Holy
had to be
shit.
like 88, 89.
So that's not that far removed from the greatness of Ali. I mean, it wasn't like 30 years later. It was still within the 10 years
But he
or
was
so.
still a little Parkinson's.
punchy.
Yeah.
But we're like, "What time is it?" It said 9 to 3 or whatever.
Yeah.
We're like, "What time is it?" "Oh, it's like 10 to 3. Fuck it, let's try to see
Let's
if we can
go.
get in."
Let's go.
So we pull into the parking lot, and we're rushing to try to see if we can get into the front. And again, this is pre 9/11, all that stuff. So there's some security guard. He's at the back door, and he goes, "We're about to close." And he looks at us. He goes, "You know what? Just fuck it. Just go in through here. You go in." So we go in through the back door with his door, and all of a sudden we're walking in, and we realize that we're seeing the back of Muhammad Ali signing autographs. So we're like in the backstage. So we walk up behind him. And we see the people in front, everybody's like waiting online.
And there's a lot of people online still.
Yeah, there's still like it's getting down to the dwindling.
But
right?
there's still people
There's
there.
still people there.
Yeah.
And there's, just like an autograph show, there's the guy passing the Ali the shit.
Yeah.
So we're like, what the fuck? So I get over there. So I go up to Ali and I just put my hands on his shoulders. And I'm
What's with you put your hands on everyone's shoulders?
What kind of fucking pervert are you?
So I'm standing there.
What's up, Shaky?
My brother's looking at me like he's cracking up, and I was like, so then finally they leave. Muhammad Ali gets up, sees my Sarah, my ex-wife, whatever, and he points her, and he brings her and he hugs her, and the next thing I know, after he hugged her, we're all in there, and it sounds so weird, but at the time it made perfect sense. So as he's walking out, I'm massaging his shoulders like we're going to the fight.
Right.
And he's getting
like, come on, champ.
He's walking to his limo, and no one stopped. No one questioned who I was. Nothing. And I'm literally massaging his shoulders
The whole way through.
So Trump was here, Ali's like there. And
Right.
I was like rubbing his shoulder.
Yeah.
And anyway, my brother has his hand. And he's rubbing his hand. He goes, these are the hands that knocked out Sonny Liston.
What kind of sick, twisted fucking show is this?
Yeah, he's like this. These are the hands that knocked out Sonny Liston.
Is he sitting now or is he still?
No, he's walking.
He's laying down.
So one of you rubbing his?
He was laying down at this point.
Yeah, I'm sitting there going, you are so fucking awesome.
And Don's rubbing his feet.
Like he had a corn here. So anyway, so we're walking, and I'm walking him to the limousine, and there's a whole entourage.
This is
I'm the one holding him.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So I'm walking him to the limousine. My brother's rubbing his hand, and then finally my brother stops. He's walking beside me, and then we get to the limousine, and I get him in. I could have got in the limo.
You could have.
I really could have.
You could have been there right now.
The whole time Ali looks at me a couple of times like a little confused. Like, what the fuck?
But since he lost the power of speech 8 years before, he can't say a goddamn thing.
So we got him to sign. We collected Sports Illustrateds, and we got him to sign. My friend had a Sports Illustrated. It wasn't even Ali. Wasn't even on it, and he got him to sign it. But anyway, this other kid came in with a stack of Muhammad Ali. He bum rushed the limousine.
Yeah.
And he had a stack of Muhammad Ali's, and he had the original first Muhammad Ali on Sports Illustrated cover.
Yep.
So my brother. It was the first time my brother's usually was a clean cut type of guy.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
always the fuck up.
Yeah.
So my brother said to me later on, he's like, Don, we gotta fucking mug that kid and take his books.
Yes.
He wanted me to do a crime, but I never did a thing.
Damn it.
But anyway, so Muhammad Ali actually got mad at that kid.
Really?
And Muhammad Ali was like, no, like because they said he never says no because he wants to go to heaven.
Yeah.
Like he had this whole thing.
Yeah.
But that time he had to say no to the kid.
Right.
But meanwhile, I could have got in the limousine.
No, well, you were.
He's going to heaven because he let these two brothers just rub him from head to toe.
That's it.
He's like, you know what? I don't have to sign that. Look at him going through right now.
These guys are rubbing my balls.
I met him a second time years later. We actually waited online, and when I got up to him, I got a picture of me and Ali, and there was a point when I wanted to say, "Remember me?" Yeah. But I was there, me and my brother and my dad, and my dad's got a great picture of him, and Muhammad Ali stood up and squared off with my dad.
Yeah.
Then it was my turn, and Ali squares off, and I'm eye contact with Ali, and it's the only time in my life I felt I'm not worthy. I was just like, I can't. I'm not worthy.
Yeah.
Wow. This is the fucking greatest of all time.
Yeah.
I'm
Wow. Yes, that's good.
So,
Great.
yeah.
Help me.
But,
Okay, please.
And then
But,
Muhammad Ali's like, I got a knot right here.
he's like,
I remember you.
I remember you.
Wait, so
You were great with
at
this
no
Swedish-
point, at no point when you're stroking your brother's stroking Ali, that Koufax is gone already.
No, that it's funny you brought up Koufax. So after we got the Ali thing, we're leaving the limousine now.
Yeah.
My brother's asking me to rob this kid.
You're rim jobbing Koufax.
No, during that whole time, Sandy Koufax is in no security, nothing. He's just walking to his car.
What the fuck is
in his
going on
trunk.
here with the Twilight
Yeah,
Zone?
he's got the trunk open. He's putting away his pictures and shit.
Yeah.
Very
so,
Jewish.
So we said, "Holy shit, that's Sandy Koufax." So again,
What do you
my
guys
girlfriend-
want?
None of this would have happened without Sarah.
Yeah.
So God bless her. I haven't seen her in
Yeah,
years.
rest
But
in peace.
yeah. But she goes, Sandy, and Sandy Koufax looks at us. And goes,
She knew him.
Yeah, so he actually signed because we didn't have anything to sign.
No.
He signed my headshot from that fucking from the audition.
Shot with Sandy Koufax.
Dude, what kind of Twilight Zone shit is this?
The back of my headshot, he signed like it's
Yeah.
just white paper, but he signed that.
Really?
So I have that to this day.
That's
I put it in a frame,
unfucking-believable.
so I have a frame of Sandy Koufax, and then I cut out the thing. But yeah, that's it. So that day we
Don
met
still signing baseballs now.
met two fucking legends.
That's crazy.
For free.
Only because of that security guy let you in a back door, which is really not the door you were supposed to go into anyway.
Yeah, I don't know what that guy was thinking.
That's a remarkable day.
Dude, and it all started on me doing the bad karate, and we're leaving like feeling like shit, and because those freaking angels were laughing at me. The guardian angels.
The guardian
They
angels.
were like, "Look at this fucking idiot! This guy doesn't know
Curtis
karate."
Lee was laughing at you, and neither one of you can get into a movie called Gladiator, and then you're hanging out, and I'd like to understand a little bit more about why your brother's caressing his hand. That part I don't get.
The shoulder
the weird-
thing was
even-
odd, but the hand thing.
The hand, no, the shoulders is fine, but if I just sit here stroking your palm,
He was like this. Give me a hand. He was like this. He's like, these are the hands that knocked out Sonny Liston.
Oh, he's doing that.
Yeah, like that.
Okay.
wow.
And but at the time, meanwhile, I'm rubbing his shoulders. By the time I was like, Greg, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah,
like,
right.
I thought it was a little weird at the moment too.
Yeah.
Like even as we're doing it.
And that's what you thought was weird.
I was just like, the whole time.
These are the shoulders that fought George Foreman.
Yeah, he's like, these knocked out Sonny Liston.
These are the shoulders that were 3 inches higher than Donald Trump's.
They are a little. Yeah, he was a little bit. I always remember the shoulder ratio.
Right, you have little.
These are the feet
Jimmy
that
Carter.
float like butterflies.
Yeah, Jimmy Carter was like here. Yeah, it is weird. I am into the shoulders.
Well, yes, great,
unbelievable.
No, that was wonderful. That was a
You
wonderful.
met Jimmy Carter. He massaged his hand. Oh, this is the hand that with the pen that signed the executive order to give away the Panama Canal.
This is the hand that ruined our gas prices.
Right. These are the hand that made all those peanuts for years. Don Sill, you've been a terrific, wonderful guest. Really great, excellent time. As we do you have anything before we go that you want to promote or tell us about at all?
Just everybody, just check me out on Instagram. Donversations on Instagram.
Okay,
really appreciate it. Also, if you want to check out Donversations podcast. Right here at Gov's Comedy Club podcast. I appreciate it. We have shows coming out on Friday. I interviewed Daddy-O from Stetsasonic. If you guys know who Stetsasonic back in the day, rap group.
Yep.
And then
I rubbed the shoulders once. Yeah.
And the caving guy. Have you seen those caving dudes that crawl through the caves?
Yep.
So I interviewed one of those guys.
very cool.
Those guys are crazy.
Wes Caven, I know him. He's a movie producer.
Yeah. This is actually his name is Wes Sims.
Oh, I didn't do that. Phil Sims' youngest son.
Yeah. And dude, he's 6'2" and he crawls through those little tunnels, man. God bless him. But
beautiful.
And he wants me to do it, and we could all go.
Let's do it, right? When we go to Saratoga.
We'll go to Saratoga, then we'll go to Alabama, and we'll go in for this.
Same trip. We'll do that. Well, wonderful job. Everyone follow Don Sill on all those socials. Mikey, before we go, what do you want to promote? Anything coming up soon?
Yeah, just Friday night I'll be at the Bolton Center in Bayshore with Rodney Laney and Eric Totaglioni. So
Terrific.
get tickets, Bolton Center, Friday night.
Awesome. And Knock 'em Dead Comedy and Magical Mystery Tour. What do you got, Tone?
Thank you very much. Friday night we'll be doing a comedic audience interactive murder mystery show, an 80s theme show at Cafe Spiga out in Mount Sinai.
That's going to be a great
food.
show.
I love that place.
Yeah, that's a great place.
Tommy's the best. Tommy,
Yep.
the owner.
Oh,
there.
Tommy Spiga? Yeah,
treat
that
us
is good
well.
stuff.
Tommy Giordano.
So
Rub his shoulders for me, please.
Yes.
we're gonna go rub each other's shoulders, guys, right now. And Tony's been rubbing my hand for the past 45 minutes. That wasn't my hand, Tony. Thank you, guys. I hope you guys like my new glasses. I'll have a new pair coming next week, probably purple, to annoy everyone who hates when I wear glasses like this.
Sugalina probably.
She detests it, which is okay. She likes letting me know that. Thank you guys for watching, listening. Watch the show, share it, keep supporting us, and we'll keep on doing what we do. Have a great night. Thank you.
Take care, everybody.